What's up, witches? My name is Taylor, and I'm the Tempest Witch, and today we're talking about the rune Laguz. We talked last time about Yera, which is the earth rune. Laguz is the water rune. Laguz is fluidity and motion and movement and emotions and understanding and intuition. It is thinking of energy as a constant flow around everything all the time. So by that, life force energy. It's, in addition to intuition, it is psychic abilities, it is overall just the knowing of the great. Everything that's going on. Sometimes I write things and they're just so good. Laguz is the rune of the unknown, or unconscious context of becoming, or of evolutionary process. Rune of life's longing for itself. Did I write that? Did I grab that from someone? Who knows, but that's fucking great. So, obviously I'm a water sign. I'm a Pisces. Thank you. Water is really important. Water is not only life essence, life force, but it is a connection to everything. Everything needs water to survive. Most everything that exists needs water to create new life. So water necessarily isn't always life-giving, it can also be destructive. So there is a double side to this. So when it's Merkstav, it could be fear, avoidance, depression, withering, meekness, manipulations, poisons, and toxic fantasy. Sometimes maladaptive daydreaming, you get stuck in your thoughts of what could be and what will be, and you don't focus on the presence of what is happening right now. When you get lost in your own daydreaming, you become out of touch with reality, which can become very toxic. So always be aware of yourself. Laguz, if it's Merkstav, also can represent like mental illness or mental fantasies, something that you're present, but you're not quite in your body when it comes to reality. And that's really important to be able to do things, just because if you're kind of in a twilight state all the time, it's really hard to live your life. Speaking from personal experience. In addition, if you think of a river, Laguz is Merkstav, it can be a stagnation, a loss of movement. You might be stuck, whether that's in your creative endeavors or in your personal situation, in your housing situation, in your relationship. So it might not necessarily mean that you need to jump out and go to a different river. It might just mean that you need to work around some obstacles and work through some things to be able to continue your forward momentum. Staying still can increase emotional and mental disorders and can increase anxiety. Because overall, it's fine to have dreams and aspirations, but you also have to be very consciously aware of what is happening, and if you get stuck in your worrying about what could happen, what is going to happen, you're not in the present, you're thinking of the future. Or even worse, you can't move forward because you're not here, you're not in the present. And that's really important. That's something I'm also working on. You can't worry about the future. You can't keep worrying about the past. You have to live in the present to be able to do things actively in your life. And like I said, you only have a certain amount of years, so you might as well do something enjoyable with them. Laguz, if it's Merkstav, also can warn that we're becoming obsessed and losing our morality, because if you become a rushing river, you don't care what you're driving over. You don't care what you're plowing through. You just go with little regard for what stands in your way, what you're trampling over. So that's something important to remember. But by the other side of that token, Laguz, if it's Merkstav, can also be a warning to ground yourself so you don't get swept away in the current. Sometimes we get really caught up in life in what is going on or what could go on, what has gone on. And so if you don't ground yourself in reality, if you aren't very stable in what is happening in the current moment, you can be swept up and lost in the tumultuous nature of this world. Sometimes you gotta dig your heels into the mud and go, I am standing, I am stuck, I am going to ground myself here, and I will not move, you move. Quotes. Quotes are so good. We cannot remain a puddle, we must rejoin the natural flow of things or we will toxify. Movement is important. Side note, just for personal things. If you're someone with severe mental illness, like myself, using Laguz, even just marking it on yourself with a marker, which I do reasonably regularly, can help you remind yourself that You are a water being. You are a fluid creature. Your body needs movement in order to get things out. Your body needs to complete the stress cycle, or you hold on to that stress. If you think back to when humans came to be, especially at the very beginning of our era of existing, you had a fight or a flight response. If you saw a lion, you can either try and fight it off if you think you have a good chance, or you have to run away. But either way, you are going to use a bunch of adrenaline that is pumping through your body. And then once you are done with the threat and you get away, all of those endorphins settle in your body and you are back to homeostasis and everything's okay. The problem we have now is that if we are faced with a fight or flight situation, because there is stimulus around us all the time, everything is overwhelming, we're always on a heightened sense of alert. If you just sit and stay with all of those anxieties, with all of that adrenaline, all the time in a heightened state of awareness, your body is just rapidly firing all this all the time. It never lets go. So something important that people have said is you need to work it out of your body. So when people say like stimming, do this for a while, you shake it out of your body, you go outside and you sprint as hard as you can for as long as you can until you're gasping and panting and almost gonna pass out. You need to do physical activity. That's why they recommend at least an hour a day, because your body needs to move in order to be healthy. Stagnation will toxify. And that's not just a metaphor, that is a physical thing. All of the endorphins in your body will toxify if they do not get out and they are not reset to homeostasis. Also, water breaks things down to its very core of what its being is. Laguz is very good at revealing hidden truths and wiping away and washing away facades and getting to the core of what actually is and what actually will be. It's very revealing. It's also really good for lucid dreaming and astral projection. So anything that has to do with dreaming or the astral in general, Laguz is really good because, again, fluid motion, fluid movement. Sometimes I'm real extra. The energy of Laguz is listening to Fleetwood Mac on vinyl, which is correct, but woman. The book is interesting. It's always interesting going back and looking at what I've wrote. But overall, too long didn't read. Everybody is a water being. Water beings need movement, or we will be unhappy. Simple, straight, to the point. Let's wrap her up. Alright guys, I hope you're getting back in the swing of things. Spring might be upon us, who knows? But we're doing the best we can, right? Anyway, skål my friends.